Okay, so in case you want to see what a narcissist looks like up close and personal, if you look at Dr. Orna and her show where Annie and Mao are on there, Mao is spelled M-A-U. He does not, he's a narcissist, and he cannot take any responsibility for anything. I mean, if he hurt you, hurt her, I should say. I'm sorry you feel that way. Or I'm sorry you took it that way. Not, I'm sorry I did that. Or, when his feet are held to the fire by Orna, the therapist, he says, that's insulting. She said, well, bear the insult. Bear the insult. In other words, deal with it. You know, you're still hurting your wife of 23 years. You are still diminishing how she feels. You are still not taking responsibility for how you treat her. Or he'll say something like, well, I don't agree that I've been doing that. I'm the best husband. If you were the best husband, you wouldn't be in therapy. Okay? That doesn't make any sense. At one point, he said, I never did that, or I have been doing that the whole time. You just didn't notice. So, on one hand, it appears that he's trying to take responsibility, and then on the other hand, it turns out to be a personal attack against Annie. Then there were times that he said this in therapy. Well, I can't remember exactly what the words were. If can't do such and such or whatever, or you don't acknowledge what I do or whatever, then fuck you. You don't talk to your spouse like that. She didn't even flinch. You know why? Because he always talks to her like that. So why wouldn't he talk like that in front of a therapist? He does that all the time. You don't say F you to your spouse. In other words, get on board with me and how I think and worship me all the time and tell me how great I am, or F you. Then at one point he had the nerve, and I want you to listen to how entitled this sounds. I expect sex 3 times a day. I don't understand people who don't want it 3 times a day. I think that there's something wrong with them. And this, that, and the other. It's just like eating or drinking to me. You got to do it. Okay. That's where he's wrong. You have to eat and drink to survive. You don't have to get laid to survive. You just think you do. Your ego tells you such. And God knows egos are huge. Annie said, and I totally agree, she said, him wanting to do it that often to me is an addiction. Exactly. The only reason he wants to do it 3 times a day, if not more, is because it feeds his flesh. It makes him feel good. Not that he wants a close connection with her, his wife. He wants to do something that he enjoys. It's fun. So why not? So on one hand, you want it all the time. And on the other hand, you treat your wife with such disdain. You never admit your faults because narcissists can't handle shame. You never admit your faults. You tell her F you. Based on that alone, she's going to dry up down there like the Sahara Desert because none of that is an aphrodisiac. Oh, you never respect me. It's always about you. You're so self-indulgent. I'm not even part of the marriage. It's all about you and you and you. Sure, let's get naked all the time. That's not an aphrodisiac. It's just not. And it's absurd to think that somebody wants to be that close with you when you have zero respect for them. That's ludicrous and nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. It makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. So it just defies logic and reason. And they eventually got a divorce, and nobody's really shocked by that or shouldn't be because nobody could ever get through to him. They never get a wake-up call. There's nothing their mom, dad, grandma, cousin, the mailman, his boss, or whatever. Nobody could ever say anything that gives him a wake-up call. Nothing, 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 because that is not how narcissists operate, unless they want to. If they're self-aware and they want to self-improve, like Ben Taylor or like mental illness, that's a different story. They know it's going to be difficult. They know they're going to have to deal with a certain amount of shame. They know they have to go to counseling and they have to swallow their pride. But 99.9% of them do not ever do that because they think they're right. And even if they're wrong, they're right. You only perceive it as wrong. And when someone has that type of, their brain is titanium, you can't get through to it, y'all not going to survive as a couple. How they got married in the first place, I don't know. Unless he was mega charming and they got married fast. I don't know how their courtship was. I don't know anything about that part of it. But a lot of times, they will speed up the relationship, speed up the marriage, speed up having kids because I want to do all these things and tie you in before you realize that I am the most difficult person you have ever met in your life. Let's speed this up. Let's go quick. I want you locked in by the time you find out that I don't listen, that your needs are not important to me. You are not important to me. I expect sex 3 times a day, even though I don't respect you. And I'm not smart enough to know that in order for you to even be in the mood 3 times a day, I have to at least consider your feelings sometimes. Okay. It's just weird how he's got all these grandiose ideas and none of them are realistic. It's just not going to happen for you, Mal. It's just not. I don't know how they lasted for 23 years, but I know that she's exhausted before this all came to a crashing end. She is emotionally exhausted. The therapist was exhausted with him, and he started getting verbally defensive of himself and getting aggressive with Orna. And she's like, I am trying to help you, and you're basically having war with me, too. Now, would he have done that with a male therapist? I think he would have, but it would have been harder. I don't know if a man would have had as much patience with him, you know. But narcissists have a tendency to respect men a lot more than they respect women. They want to bang the hell out of women, not because of respect, but because they are self-entitled and the world owes me. The world don't owe you nothing but a smack in the head. Okay? Let's get that straight. I can't remember the couple. She's Asian, he's white, and how they became a couple is beyond me. How they stay married is beyond me, and they're probably divorced by now. I'll have to research it. I don't know their names. But she wears glasses. She's Asian. He's white. She's very angry. She's got a lot of anger built up from, I think it's built up from her childhood. And she's already checked out of the marriage. She says, I don't want this anymore. He wants me to be something that I can't be. And I can't do that for him. I think a common thread that I see in a lot of these couples in therapy is just, oh, excuse me, God, I'm tired. A lot of what I see is pure stubbornness on either end or both. And I have seen where the wife is bawling her eyes out and she's trying to get her husband to. She's had affairs before with men and women, and she's told him about it, and she doesn't give a shit. She's like, I asked you to do certain things, you refuse to do them, and when I'm with these other people, I'm yelling for help, I'm screaming. You don't scream for help from your spouse by getting naked for someone else. That's not the appropriate thing to do. And because people can be so hard-headed, even though she addressed him for not opening his mouth, and she addressed him for, you don't say this, you don't say that, you don't include me, he still didn't do it. He just sat there looking at her. And y'all remember me saying obstinance, which is extreme stubbornness, will get you single quick. Real quick. You can sit there and you could fold your arms and you could cross your legs and you could roll your eyes up in your head and you could be stubborn as a mule. You'll be a single mule. Will you regret it one day? Most likely, especially when you start dating and you realize that there's nothing but losers out there. Tons and tons of losers. You're going to regret losing your partner when all you had to do was swallow your pride, stop being a stubborn mule, and say, what do you need more from me? What more do you need from me? And then you practice. If they say, well, you never include me. I asked you to include me in such and such, and you went without me. You didn't care what I wanted. So then this is the spouse's opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm going to do that Friday. Would you like to come with me? You make an effort. You don't sit there. You see that your spouse is pouring their guts out to you. They might be bawling their eyes out, and she was. And you sit there with no expression on your face, and you just keep looking at her, and you still don't open your mouth and say, well, I understand what you're saying, and I'm gonna make an effort to connect with you better. And I'm sure that hurts you, and my intention is not to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you, but I am. But I'm gonna make an effort to not do this anymore. I'm gonna try my best to include you because we're supposed to be a team. Do people say that? No. You're in therapy for a reason. And your stubbornness is not going to keep you together. So you could be as hard-headed as you want to be and refuse, 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 even though you didn't say you refuse. The fact that you sit there and still won't open your mouth tells me that you still refuse. So get prepared to be single. She's banging other people any damn way, so your marriage is pretty much over. Okay? Then you've got the lesbian couple One of them is, I think one of them is Hispanic, and the other one is chocolate. She's a chocolate girl. They're a lesbian couple. They do have kids. Um, and the Hispanic girl was saying, I wasn't looking for a spouse, and then I met her. And her words were, oh my God, this girl is great. She's marriage material. All my friends are like, you need to be with her. She's wife and mother material all up and down. She said they both completed nursing school. They graduated. And they've been together. I don't really know how many years they've been together, but they haven't. Their relationship is just on a decline, and they haven't been intimate in a year. That's a really, really long time to not have a connection with your spouse. But she even said Hispanic, we'll call her B, and her wife is A. B looked at A and said, because I can't remember their names, looked at A and said, I'm just not attracted to you anymore. Um, why would you fix your mouth to say something like that to your wife? Those are the types of words that cut like a samurai sword. They cut to the core of a person's soul. Then B also said at a later point, when we're intimate, we finally had sex and she was laughing. But then she said, but I didn't feel connected to her. I didn't feel emotionally connected. What the hell? Do you see why these relationships are on the downward spiral? You say what you want to say. You don't ruminate it in your head for a while before you let it blurt out of your mouth. You cut your partner to the core. And you wonder why y'all not getting it on? You're making me tired. You're making me tired. This isn't really rocket science. But then B also said to the Orna, I don't think I've ever been emotionally connected to her. Oh my God. What in the hell did you get married for? What in the hell did you have a family for? Because it looks good? I graduated school, I got married, I had kids. You know what? Take all that crap, ball it up, and throw it in the trash. Because if it is not for designed for you and you get bored easily, you got no business getting married. And B also wants to sleep around with other people. She wants to open up the marriage. Okay, let me explain you something. You can't even handle your relationship with one person. How in the hell are you going to open it up with other people and everything is supposed to be better? And her wife, A, said, I think she just wants to spread her legs, for everybody. And B said, yeah, be a hoe, basically. How is that going to fix your life? Again, the answers to life's problems are not in someone else's underwear. It's not. You can't handle your relationship with your spouse and you think opening your marriage is going to all of a sudden make life great. Nobody pressured you to get married. And if you did some self analysis, you would know that you get bored easily. You would know that you can't commit to shit. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can't commit, that's okay. You got married because it looks good on paper. You got married because people have respect for that. You got married because it looks good. You got married because quotation marks, that's what people do. But that's not for you. Just like Susie wears a size 5 shoe, you wear a size 7. You can't put on her shoe just because you're supposed to wear shoes. You put your size on. You don't wear Susie's size. You're not Susie. So relationships are the same way. You don't get into a relationship because that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what everybody does. That ain't their what they're doing ain't got nothing to do with you. They're doing their life. You have to do your life. I think she got married for selfish reasons because that's what you do. You graduate school, you have a certain amount of respect and a success, and you get a good job, and then you're supposed to get married. You're not supposed to do shit. If you can't commit and you get bored, you don't get married because you are a liar. I'm going to be with you till death do you part. Or unless I decide I'm bored and want to open up the marriage. That's not part of the vows, Tootsie. That's not part of the vows. B should have never got married. Never in a million years should she have gotten married. And now she's itching to hump other people. Do you not know there's viruses out there that are permanent? You don't know that? And you a nurse? Really? And how many lesbian women use condoms when they go jumping down there, diving between somebody's thighs? They don't. You know there's viruses out there. Don't be stupid. But you going to take chances on catching stuff because you're bored, because you got an itch that you got to scratch. Your behind never should have got married. Period. Dot. End of story. If you get a divorce, look at the bright side. Now you can hump whoever the hell you want to hump. You shouldn't have got married and promised to be faithful and all this other when you know damn well that's not even who you are. You know how many people do that? A lot. They can't commit to a damn thing, but they're going to lie their ass off in front of God, in front of family, in front of friends, and make these vows that they know don't hold water. And they know they get bored after 20 minutes. They're like a kid. They got a bike for Christmas. They're happy for about an hour, and then they want something else to stimulate their brain. And in this case, stimulate her. Not only that, you want to bang other people. And she said, well, she doesn't want to open up our marriage because she feels that a marriage is, intimacy between two people and a special connection. But I think that you can have a marriage and have both because that's what she wants. She wants a marriage and the ability to bang other people. She wants her cake and eat it too. Well, hell, we all want that. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And the words that have come out of your ignorant ass mouth have cut your wife to the core of her spirit. I'm just not attracted to you like that. Oh. Well, then you shouldn't be upset that you haven't got laid in a year because you're not attracted to her no way, remember? And if she decides to divorce you, you deserve it. Now you get to be a statistic like everybody else. You get to go to court for child custody. You get to argue and fuss about this. You get to have lawyers and spend all this money because your behind was bored and you were not equipped to be married. So, bottom line is this. The worst thing you could do, one of the worst things you could do, is get married or forget about marriage. Getting in a relationship with somebody when you know you can't commit. Pulling somebody into your life knowing that you have the mentality of a 2-year-old and you get bored quick, fast, and in a hurry. Why are you wasting people's time? And when they end up can't stand your ass no more ever again, you shouldn't be surprised. You wasted their time. You lied and misrepresented who you were. You acted like you could be loyal and faithful, and you know damn well those words are not even in your goddamn vocabulary. People are not equipped to get married, but they jump into it. They sure do. Because they get to be a center of attention. And they get to get accolades. And everybody's congratulating them and drinking champagne and toasting to the beautiful, blushing bride and groom or whatever y'all's situation is. But when the buzz wears off and the high wears off and the congratulations die down, you start getting bored. Or if you're a narcissist, you probably got more bored right after the reception. When everybody split off and went to their hotels, or you all went to wherever you go on your honeymoon, whatever, you were bored and already wanting somebody else. You're not equipped to be married. Narcissists are not equipped to be married. They do not have the bandwidth. They do not have the psychological ability. They do not have the maturity. They do not have the ability to be faithful because they got to feed their little raggedy ass ego. They are not equipped to be married. But because their ego is bigger than their common sense, well, they don't have any common sense. Their ego is bigger than their brain. They get married anyway. And they end up wasting people's time. And then you end up getting enemies because you're going to have more than one marriage under your belt, more than one divorce excuse me, under your belt. And you knew damn well when you said you do, you don't. So, moral of the story is, don't waste people's time. If you know you can't be loyal, you know you can't be faithful, you know you still have to sow your wild oats or whatever it is that you think you need to do, or you lack the maturity level, you know that you're not mature. Come on. You know that. You know that. Don't waste people's time. Because some people are actually capable of love. They are capable of loyalty and faithfulness. They don't want you and everybody else. They just want you. And if you lack the maturity level to do that, stop doing it. Stop doing it. It's a waste of time and space. All because you need accolades and you need everybody to think you're amazing because you got married. That's not a strong enough reason to get married. That's a waste of time. Energy, money, everything. It's just total waste. I know I said vows to you, but my butt. Why are you trying to open up your marriage? That's not what y'all discussed before you got married. And for people who are married and they both agreed to open up the marriage, why did you get married in the first place? That's weird. That's totally weird. We're never going to be faithful to each other, but we should get married. That's stupid. Why did you lie like that? Why did you lie and say, we're going to be together till death do us part, we're going to be loyal and faithful to each other, and this and that and the other? And you know damn well none of that applies to you. It's not applicable. Stop wasting people's time. Because when they release hell on your ass and end up hurting your feelings really badly, in addition to hating your guts and telling everybody that you're horrible, you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation in the first place. You were not equipped, but you forced a square peg in a round hole, and now you're paying the price for it, and you deserve that and more. Because you shouldn't have did it in the first damn place. Y'all take care. Much love. Bye.